Good afternoon. Oh, I guess it's good morning for Amy Lassen. I am Charlie Bingle Jr., the CEO of RE/MAX Allegiance, coming to you live from the East Coast. And my co-host today is Amy Lassen, an associate broker with RE/MAX Properties in Colorado Springs. So good morning to you.
Oh, thank you, thank you. It does feel like afternoon though.
We
Been a long day.
We usually are on opposite weeks. This is a special class or show, and due to all things coronavirus, and we want to present a plan to associates on how to move their business forward. We have people watching on the East Coast. We have people in other markets. So I think that, the top three priorities for all agents should be, number one is safety, right? The things that we're going to talk about today, some of you may not be comfortable doing all of them, and that's okay. I don't think we should be dragging anybody kicking and screaming to listings. We shouldn't be strong-arming people into listing their homes. You and I talked about this last week. We need to be in touch with our clients and do what's best for them and best for us. And because doing the right thing is always the right thing. Yeah. And unlike if we owned a bar, right, that revenue is gone, right? So bar owners, restaurants, et cetera, it's going to be very challenging for them to make up lost revenue. But with real estate, and I get that there's furloughs and there's layoffs, but for the most part, I think most people expect that the real estate market to recover rather quickly because just a month ago it was on fire.
Yeah.
So safety, and that's not just physical safety and making sure that you're don't get the virus, but it's also mindset. And we talked about this last week. And I tell you, if you are isolating at home, you're trying not to spread the virus to others, and you're not feeding your mind with positive stuff, I'm really concerned. If you're watching CNBC, great day for stocks today, but if you've been watching every day, it's been pretty bad, right? And if you watch a CNN, a Fox News, an MSNBC, a whatever, it is the sky is falling. And in some markets, things are not good, right? In other markets, it's almost business as usual. So we have, like I said at the beginning, we have many people watching in different markets. We need to be following the government regulations, which are changing every day. Maryland switched some stuff up on me yesterday. I expect DC to switch some stuff up on me tonight or tomorrow. But at least in the RE/MAX Allegiance markets, there is no stay-at-home order, right? And while businesses may be asked to close, meaning storefronts, offices, et cetera, at least in the RE/MAX Allegiance footprint, we've not been told yet that you cannot show homes, sell homes, do closings, et cetera. However, there are some people that are watching in jurisdictions where they can't, which leads us to a question of, if lockdown happens, what do I do? And I think that that's something that most people should at least be asking themselves. And we don't want to create a panic, right? But I think asking ourselves, what's my plan if I've got to just pause for 2 weeks, if I can't show homes? So are our listings, do we have Matterport on them? Do we have video on them? Do we have floor plans? The stuff that we should have been, I would argue, been doing all along, right? The people that are watching this are top producers, not part-timers, right? The stuff that we had been planning to do, had wanted to do, knew we should be doing, right? Is that underway, right? What is the plan to get that underway immediately in markets where we can still get that stuff underway? Because I heard from a Tom Ferry coach that he put 2 houses on the market in California over the weekend. They were both under contract. They were not seen physically. They were only seen online. So business can continue if we're prepared. And in some of our markets, I think there's opportunities to get prepared still, right? The hurricane's still off the coast. It's not here today. So that's kind of my very long-winded intro. We're going to show you all sorts of stuff, but let's hear from you, Amy. What are your kind of introductory thoughts?
Well, I appreciate you acknowledging that that was a really long intro. We have a lot to cover today.
We do.
But I'm hoping I can put people's minds at ease a little bit. We're not just going to drag you through this, barraging you with all these shoulds and all these maybes. Because what I was thinking, listening to you, was, yeah, but when do I decide it's my time to shift the way I'm doing my business? Yes, I'm listening. Sure, I'll write down a few notes, but maybe it's not my time. Or, well, it does feel like crisis, but what good would any of this do? Or all the thoughts that we're having.
Right.
I just want to reinforce what you said, Charlie, and that is just about every single thing we're going to recommend today is what we should have all been doing all along. So I want to suggest, regardless of the market conditions, regardless of the situation, and maybe you're homeschooling 4 kids. I get that. That's going to be a different reality for you, and everybody needs to adjust for themselves. But when we talk about having an extraordinary online process for presentation, that's something we should have all had in our back pocket already, right? Being able to have video calls rather than just phone calls with the average lead.
Right.
Having good daily structures, healthy practices to keep yourself strong. All of those things are going to serve you now and in the future. So please hear us out. Don't say that doesn't apply to me, or that does, or that scares me. None of this needs to scare you. It's going to be what it's going to be. But if we take the time and support each other in sharpening our tools, we will come out the better.
That is very well said. So priorities, safety, right? We talked about physical, we talked about mindset. We're going to get into more of that in a few minutes. Priority number 2 is move our current business forward. What are we doing with our current listings? What are we doing with our current buyers? And again, I am thinking about the DC metro area, and that we are still in business. You can still show homes if people are comfortable. I think we mentioned last week, I have a Tom Ferry coaching client who has a 74-year-old seller, and he wanted to pause for a little while because he's in a high-risk group. He's been in and out of the hospital. So he wanted to take his house off the market. Reasonable to me, right? I mean, common sense, right? So getting with our clients and letting them understand what's going on. We have an agent in McLean, Virginia, who she was one of 5 offers about 10 days ago. And by the time the seller went to review them, she was the only offer left. Fear caused the others to drop away. And the listing agent disclosed this to her. So she went back, she changed her offer. She added in contingencies. She, I believe, lowered the offer price. So this buyer was able to get ratified in a way that there's no way he or she would have a month ago, because the market was on fire. So there are opportunities for people who are comfortable moving forward. And I think letting people know that is not a bad thing. So moving our current business forward. Number 3, loading the cannon for the future. The pent-up demand, the staying in flow with all of our people, the not letting off the gas when it comes to marketing, right? We should be if you do a monthly newsletter, maybe do one weekly. If you talk to your people quarterly, maybe talk to them monthly, right? So doubling down on the things that we are doing, I think is important. But I do want to say something about marketing. I am still getting marketing from agents and other companies that appear to be tone deaf to this crisis.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you have to be GM that came out with like that coronavirus commercial like 5 days ago. I mean, talk about moving fast. Holy smokes, right? I think Ford has as well. Most people haven't, right? But if you're sending out a newsletter, acknowledge the elephant in the room. If you are using drip campaigns, if you're a Boomtown user, a Sierra, a whoever, you've got to check, please, I am begging you, check your campaigns to make sure they are appropriate. And they may still be appropriate as written if you simply add something about the virus that makes you appear to know that you're the here now. There was an outside coaching company who sent out a blast email to, I think, thousands of people yesterday, advertising this was not Tom Ferry, by the way, advertising his event coming up in May. And what do you think happened? An hour later, there was a retraction. We're really sorry. This was in the can. We didn't catch it. No, we're not suggesting you should gather en masse, because what happened? People hit reply and said, how dare you? You're encouraging us to buy for this event, all because this company was not paying attention. And this company is not run by idiots, right? These are smart people. We just need to be mindful of what we may have set and ready and
Yeah.
just tweak it.
Yeah.
Don't shut it off. Just tweak it, right?
Mhm.
So I would say over index on the marketing and the communication, but just use a little bit of common sense, because everybody that's watching this cares,
Mhm.
right? And I don't want anybody that's watching this to be lumped into some group of, oh, they only care about sales, they only care about themselves, they have commission breath, because we know that's not the case.
Right.
So that's kind of straightforward, but do you have comments on that? I mean, there's
Well,
like these people that, like, I've been in, Zillow is one of them.
mm.
Hey, I haven't heard from you yet. It's like,
Oh,
I have bigger issues right now, and then,
yeah.
like, you get caught on like these drips. And if you don't reply, it's like they up their language and pressure. And it's just like,
Right.
guys, you got to knock it off.
Right. Well, I want to ask you how much time in today's show you're going to spend on marketing, because I do have a couple of other comments about marketing, but I don't want to jump in too fast.
So as part of our 30-day plan, there's going to be marketing in that, and we'll
Okay.
have a chance to go through that.
Great.
We're also going to have, we have a takeaway of 75 ideas, techniques, et cetera, to be able to work virtually. A lot of us have been working virtually, right? It's not, like you said earlier, a lot of this is not going to be new, but it may be, oh, yeah, I should have done that, or it's on the list and I need to move it towards the top of the list.
Yeah.
So everything that we're going to talk about today is going to be available, or is available right now, on theallegianceway.com. At the very top, we have a brand new little button that says pivot. You just click pivot and you can download whatever you want. So I think that there's a total of 4 downloads. In addition, my esteemed co-host here is going to be hosting 30-minute webinars right here live on Facebook beginning tomorrow at 1:30 Eastern. And these are very timely classes. I think tomorrow is, what if my client wants to cancel, right? Pretty timely. We're seeing that in some markets. How to list a home in a pandemic, da-da-da-da-da. So we're going to keep adding to these. If anybody is watching and you are interested in a class, shoot me an email, charlesbengal@remax.net, charlesbengal@remax.net, and we'll just add it to the queue. We have lots of ideas, but we're certainly open to creating things. Coach Amy is creating this stuff kind of on the fly. So don't think that this is in the queue like a month in advance, because we didn't think we'd be having this webinar a couple days ago, right?
Nope,
We just did. Everything's moving so fast, and we're going to continue to adjust and make changes along the way if we need to. So far, safety, moving current business forward, loading the cannon for the future. If you end up going on lockdown, like so many states are right now, what's your plan? Be thinking about that.
Yep.
Check your marketing to make sure that it's appropriate and not canned. And you can keep farming. I just mentioned the virus. Keep doing newsletters, mention the virus. I just think as long as you mention it, you're probably good. If you just don't, you're probably not. So 4 things we want to cover today: mindset, gratitudes. Are you taking your daily meds? Then we're going to get into the 75 technologies to work virtually, and then we're going to go over the 30-day plan that people can download. So let me attempt to share my screen and pull up the first part of this, which is the daily gratitudes and intentions. And can you see my screen?
Yes.
Excellent. So those of you that are, I will say, those of you that are doing the Miracle Morning, you can just keep it up, right? I don't know that I would change anything. If you already have a super powerful morning routine, I was talking to a client this morning. She usually works virtually, but has an office as well, but works at the office. Well, they're in Michigan. They're both working at home, right? And they are doing the Miracle Morning together now. And I said, you know what? The stuff that you're going to learn with this whole pivot thing, keep up with the Miracle Morning. You guys have a good routine going, you and your husband. That's fantastic. So you don't need to, if you already have a powerful morning routine, which we have talked about before, own it and continue it. That's cool. If you don't, consider something new, right? So 10, 10,
Charlie,
10.
I have an interjection, and I don't know that you want tech issues on a live call, but we're not live. Melissa just messaged me that we aren't live, in case there's something you want to do about that. I realize we're recording, which is
That I
excellent.
would. I think we're just going to run with it
Yeah,
and
great.
upload it, right? I think that
Yep.
that's better than having to start over
Oh yeah, of
for
course.
everyone.
Yep.
So that's what we'll do.
Keep
Okay.
on going.
That is really weird, though.
Yeah.
That I will say. So pivot, daily gratitudes and intentions, AKA goals,
Mhm.
right? Things are changing, things are new, mindset is really important. There is a
Mhm.
shortage of good news in the world right now. I think that there's just an avalanche of bad news. And so gratitude and goals, 10 gratitudes, and we talk about this all the time when we come across somebody that has a negative mindset or is down in the dumps or is having a bad quarter, right? The first thing I usually go to when it comes to mindset is talk to me about what you're grateful for. And then are you writing that down every day, right?
Mhm.
Because we all have things that we can be grateful for, as it says here, even in the midst of chaos and uncertainty. So
Yeah.
being able to write down and then 10 goals using the law of attraction. It says here, what do you want to focus on getting accomplished today? It's not a to-do list. What are the specific measurable results I want to produce today? Make these the intentions of the day. And then it talks about sharing the 10 with family, friends, sphere, community, your cat, your coach, your accountability buddy,
Yeah.
right? This is a good time to have accountability friends. So this is a worksheet. I think there's 30 pages for 30 days, and there's room to write down your 10 gratitudes and 10 goals. Share with me your thoughts on gratitudes, goals, intentions, the whole bit, because I know you have some.
Well, I think a lot of us have heard of this discipline before. We've thought about keeping a journal. We've thought about having a morning routine, and then we just don't. It doesn't seem worth it, or probably more
Mm-hmm.
likely it's just a habit that we don't focus on long enough to develop. But I think the other thing is you try it for 3 days and it doesn't feel like it cured you, right? It's like, ah, they're full of crap. I
Mm-hmm.
did 3 days in a row and I'm not better. Habits take a long, long time to develop, and shifting your mindset is something that takes time too. It was Zig Ziglar who said motivation is like showering. You need to do it every day, right? So I would say commit to giving yourself just a couple of minutes of quality time with
Mm-hmm.
positive thoughts. And the other thing is, I think those of us who are business owners, and that's all of us, have that experience of overwhelm, right? We all know the feeling of, I feel like my brain is overfull, stuff is falling out, I can't remember things. Am I getting old? Is it me? Like, we all have this feeling of overwhelm, correct? The thing that I think that we could do, oh, we're live, look at that.
I am working as you are talking.
I think something that we don't realize is our brain really is holding all that it can. And the reason we tend to forget things or feel stressed is because we're overtaxing our brain.
Yeah.
I'm giving that background to say this. If we would start with the gratitude, if we would fill the jar until it's
Mm-hmm.
nearly overflowing with the good things, all the little crappy things about the news or the level of your stock portfolio or whatever gets to fit in the cracks around the good things. Whereas if you fill the jar with all the scary stuff, it's
Right.
hard to backfill. It's
There's no
hard to
room.
squish. Yeah, there's
There's no
really no
room.
room for some happiness, for some joy.
Yeah.
So I think this is absolutely vital. Imagine that your heart, your mind, your soul is a jar, and fill it with good things. And there's just not going to be a lot of room for the other crap. You know, the concept of bandwidth, you know, that
Yes.
there's only so much information that can go
Right.
through the airwaves because we only have so much bandwidth, right? Fill your bandwidth with the good things. It'll be hard to fit it in later if you don't.
I like it. Very good. Let me go back to sharing my screen. And for those that are now watching on Facebook, fret not. All my pontificating at the beginning of the video was
It was fabulous.
recorded, so you can watch it back. We will send it out to you. So, and also post it on the Facebook page. So you need not worry about that. The next one, we've done our visualizations. Let me scroll down through here to the next one. The next one is track your meds. I love this. What are meds? So again, those of you that have been doing the Miracle Morning or another powerful morning routine, a lot of this is going to look somewhat familiar. The acronyms are a little bit different, right? But M is meditation. And you and I have talked about this before. For me personally, it is really hard for me to turn off my brain when I'm awake. Sometimes it's hard for me to turn off my brain when I want to sleep. I need to take the advice in the S, because the S in meds is sleep. But we have here some suggestions and some apps that can help us do that, because if you're not used to meditating, you're going to need some help, and you're going to need somebody to kind of talk you through shutting off your thoughts, right? Even for a few minutes. So there are 5 different guides and apps here. You and I think have spoken about this before. I use Headspace. I think it's free for 2 weeks or 30 days or something. The guy talks you through shutting off your brain and being able to just chill. And I think that is super valuable. What do you have to say or add about meditation?
Well, I think a lot of us are really intimidated by this concept. And I think most of us resonate with what you said, Charlie. I can't turn my brain off. And I've been told, and I am not a skilled meditator because I have not committed to sticking with it, but I have been told that the key is not to turn off our brains, because it kind of doesn't ever happen, but to come to a place of peace that when you have the nagging thoughts appear, that you're able to let them pass over.
Acknowledge and let them
Yes,
go. Yes.
right, without having it disrupt. And so this could be, you know, by the way, of the 2 bazillion things we're going to share today, you might pick 1 or 2 to double down on. And this one could be the game changer for you, because I think a lot of us have adult onset ADD, and it's thanks to these.
Yes.
Right. So we've all developed this ping, 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 ping way of operating, and our brains tire us out because we're so quick to respond to every little thing. Meditation encourages you to acknowledge the thoughts and not engage with them. So that could be a helpful, extraordinary practice.
Yes, thank you for sharing. And I would just give it a shot. All of these apps are free. Give it a shot. If it's not for you, okay, but give it a shot. E in meds is exercise. Exercise. And we have home workouts. We have best exercises for beginners to try at home. And then we have something else from yoga to CrossFit. So the idea here is, we talked about safety, physical, making sure that you are moving around enough. Again, exercise helps to cleanse our brains of negativity, right? And a lot of people exercise when they get stressed and whatnot. So I think that this is somewhat self-explanatory. By the way, all of the stuff that we have shared on this page, all the stuff that we have emailed out to our associates, it almost, or much of it, is appropriate for our Sphere and clients as well. So the idea of, have you taken your meds today? That's a great Facebook post. And then you just talk about what meds is. Everybody needs this now. It's not just realtors. So we talked earlier about over-indexing on the communication with the people in our lives, be it past clients, Sphere, the coworkers that we don't see day to day anymore. Maybe there's we have people that are not using Zoom, right? We have, in other words, there are people watching this that have clients in Sphere that feel lonely, right? And using, maybe those of you that have a Zoom room, you offer it up to the community. I know somebody, shout out to Kristen in Michigan. She has organized her 800 unit subdivision into block captains, and the block captains and her all get on her Zoom page. It's a couple times a week, and they try to identify people that are living alone or are elderly that could use brightening up. And then they send kids over to put chalk on the driveway or whatever, or they offer to go, I'm heading to CVS, what can I grab for you, right? So we can use a lot of these tools to help out our friends and clients in doing happy hours on Zoom. They call them what? Quarantinas instead of, or quarantini instead of martini, right? Jay Garrett, shout out to Jay Garrett from New Jersey. He suggested on our mastermind on Friday, playing poker on Zoom. You can still play poker with your friends. So there's all sorts of cool stuff that we can be doing. So I know this isn't exercise related, but the stuff we're sharing with you guys can be shared with your
Yeah.
family and all that. And again, it's a way you're adding value to their life.
Well,
yeah.
earlier when you said make sure that your marketing at least acknowledges the virus, and I would take it one step further. Talk about what's real, right?
Yeah.
And this is the real conversation. Have you played a board game over Zoom yet, right? That's the conversation we're having, not here's the weekly stats. And by the way, I did not fail to notice there's a virus.
Right.
No,
Right.
No. Talk about what's actually going on.
Yeah. And the ideas are limitless, and we'll continue to post ideas to this Facebook group. I read, and I think the Washington Post yesterday, that there was an extended family, think like Modern Family. There was like 4 families, that make up the extended family. And they all made pasta with red sauce, and they all got on Zoom on Sunday night and had Sunday dinner. Right? So again, these are things that we can be doing. And those of you that have the Zoom, the paid version that you can have almost unlimited people for unlimited time, you can offer that up to your clients. Hey, I have a Zoom room. You can use it for free, because we're not going to, you guys aren't using it all night, every night, right? Offer it up to your sphere. Diet. What's not mentioned in here is emotional eating. And some people, when they get super stressed, they stop eating. When I get super stressed, I go for the sugar. Just give me a cookie, right? And I will chow down on it. And I'm not eating out as much as I used to. So maybe the cookies that I eat, it'll even out, right? But they call it stress eating here. And there's some ideas about diet and how to eat healthy without dieting. I know that I think you probably have coaching clients. I have coaching clients that they want to lose weight this year. I mean, it is like a task or an item that I ask them about every week, actually. And, those of you that are doing that, I would just say, you got to track it like everything else, right? You got to track, get MyFitnessPal or some of this other stuff. So
and I think the tip
be mindful of what you're putting in your mouth.
Well, but I think the tip there, diet tip, is substitute with something else. So if in this space you feel entitled to have a glass of wine, like why not? And then it starts to become a half a bottle every single day while you're at home.
Yeah.
Substitute for, and maybe you're not a hot tea drinker, but I have to remind myself that I like soda water and I like hot tea as much as I like a beer. Yeah. And so when I'm thinking, ooh, end of the day, let's have a relaxing beverage. The others are just as good for me, but I have to remember that I have a substitute. So identify your substitutes.
Yeah, I had some strawberries last night instead of a cookie.
Nice.
They were sweeter than the cookie.
Yeah.
Now my mom made me cookies, which is the problem, and the cookies will be eaten. But I did have some strawberries last night, right? Nice. Sleep. This is the big one. 8 or more hours of sleep with 4 deep sleep cycles reduces stress. There are some apps here that can, record this. A lot of what we're going over today is complimentary. And from Tom Ferry, I want to give him credit for this. So you'll see in some of these handouts that it talks about Tom. It's Tom Ferry, right? And Tom has been using, it looks like, this sleep cycle app for 2,200 nights. The guy's been using it for years. Just trying to sleep, which is, a great idea. So using the weekly trackers, and I can scroll down here and show you the actual tracker.
I want to say something about sleep for those of us who are stressing in this time. Sleep experts say we've got to get off our phones or televisions or computer screens way earlier than we do in the evening to allow us to wind down. And then it's like, no, just use the blue light and you can keep reading that crap. No, I think maybe we probably ought to cut ourselves off. Right? Have an hour before you intend to sleep that you just cut yourself off. Because I think maybe you've come to the end of a long day managing your kids, managing your life, managing your business remotely, and then you just check in with Facebook or you check in with the news, and then you're up later than you intended and you're filling your mind with things that stress you.
Yes, precisely. Excellent point. So the Daily Meds Tracker, we have one of these available at the Allegiance Way. You click on Pivot, and you can download this. And we were talking yesterday about, what do you want to put in these boxes? It's just notes. It's numbers or it's notes. It's whatever you want to keep track of. And again, you can send this daily meds tracker to the other people in your life that you love. So SMTW, these are the days of the week, right? And you talk about MEDS, and you just write notes here, and we've got you covered for week after week after week. So that is the meds tracker. Next up, 75 technologies, tools, and how-tos for the virtual agent. Some of this is going to be familiar. Some of it's going to be new. As Amy said earlier, let's not get overwhelmed with all of this stuff, right? We need to be moving our current business forward. We need to be loading our cannon for the future. So don't get bogged down in a bunch of this stuff as an excuse of not to be in touch with your people.
Yeah.
We need to be in touch with our people. That is priority number one.
Yeah.
So collaborative communication. We at Remax Allegiance have been using Slack for 5 years, I want to say. I could be exaggerating. We send out, and by the way, we just use this for staff. We've not added agents to it yet. Perhaps we should try. It's just, we just haven't. We send out 2,000 messages between staff members every week. Those would be emails. Normally those would be emails. So those of you that are running teams, Slack is a great product. It is free. It will save your last, I believe, 10,000 messages. And then if you want to go back further, you need to have the paid version. We've always used the free version. For the super important stuff that needs a long shelf life, I tell the staff we need to be emailing that stuff, the short little questions and answers type of a thing. Think text message. You can use Slack. There's a desktop app. There's an app for your phone. So that's what I'm familiar with. I think Microsoft Teams is similar, right? They're a competitor of Slack, I understand. What tools do you use for collaborative communication, or what have you seen in your brokerage or with the teams that you work with? Anything that you want to add to this? I know I'm putting you on the spot.
No, it's fine. I'm just trying to, I just want to clarify for those who maybe haven't tried Slack exactly how it works, because I've had people say to me, I don't get it. How is this different than having a Facebook group with your team? How is this different than just sending an email? And the truth is, it does function like all those things. It functions like texting. It functions like a closed group. It functions like email. The unique thing is it's a closed environment. When you're logged into your team Slack, you're not getting a prompt to read an article about Angelina Jolie, and I think that's absolutely vital. So the thing that I love about Slack is how clean it is. It's also very versatile. You can, I know a team that actually has a channel called Fun, and they actually do put fun stuff there. But unless you click on the fun channel, you're not being exposed to that. You can also target messaging. You can have like only my admin sees these things, or only my buyer's agent see these things. So if you have not tried Slack, absolutely worth it for team communication. And I think there are lots of other things, but for that type of communication, it's kind of the industry standard. Everything else
I think so. I was going to say it's basically like instant messenger, the old instant messenger for business, but you can set up channels as Amy was saying. You know, we have a channel in our Slack for the leadership team. We have a channel for the admins, right? You can still send your message to everyone, but you can also segment it by channel. And you can also do direct messages and stuff. For us, 99% of the messages that we send are direct messages. It's somebody that has a question for someone else. But there are certainly tech companies and other real estate companies and whatnot where they use the more channel-wide communication much more frequently than, you know, my company. So I'd say just give it a shot. Like we said, it's free. You probably won't need the paid version unless you want to keep, 14 or more than 10,000 messages rather. Email and marketing automation. You and I think, have talked about this stuff before. Many agents are already using, BombBomb or MailChimp. I think that the sky is the limit with BombBomb, and I probably don't know half of what it does. But if you need a landing page, BombBomb can be your landing page. Those of you that are going to the Allegiance Way and clicking on any of what we offer there, even the new pivot box, that entire back end is run by BombBomb. We upload the content, you all fill out a form and request it, and then it comes to you from BombBomb. So the idea, there may be some folks that are watching us thinking that BombBomb is video only. I would say perhaps it's video first, right?
Yeah.
Ideally, but we use BombBomb extensively, and probably more than half its uses for us personally as a company,
Mhm.
we don't use the video function for, right or wrong. So when we start doing open houses again, you can
Yeah.
use BombBomb as your open house sign-in sheet. And then
Yes.
when they sign in, they click enter, boom, they get an email from you or a video from you, right?
Yeah.
Thanking them. There's not a lot of folks that are doing that.
Yeah.
So I'm a BombBomb user. I'm a MailChimp user. That's what I use out of this stuff.
Mhm.
What other comments, do you have when it comes to email and marketing automation?
Well, I would say just pick something because it is so easy to get overwhelmed. And some of us have been BombBomb users for a long time and only half in. Maybe you and I, Charlie, should commit that in the next 2 weeks we'll provide, best practices for BombBomb and really, really spoon feed. Although maybe BombBomb's doing a good job of that already and you can just watch their tutorials. But pick something, whatever one of these appeals to you, and give it a little bit of time. All these tools take time to learn, and it will pay remarkable dividends. It's interesting to hear marketing experts say that email is the #1 most effective way to market yourself. Who would have thunk, right? With as much
Still
spam as
is.
we all get, still
Yep.
is. Yeah, and there's wonderful content that Remax Allegiance provides to their agents in the back end of BombBomb. So yeah, wonderful opportunities with a lot of these.
Yeah, I mean, for example, that is Tom Ferry's #1 marketing tool is still email, because he sends out items of value. He sends out stuff that
Yeah,
people want to see. And I believe he's told us that for every dollar he spends, he gets $4 back in ROI. That is a huge return.
sure, yes.
If I'm remembering those numbers right. So again, um, whatever whatever you already have, just
Mhm.
start using it, right?
Yeah.
Because realtors are like the easiest people to sell to. We always joke about this, right? We go to the realtor conventions and stuff, and we come back with a whole bunch of stuff, and then gets charged to our credit card $50 a month. And you're like, dang, like in month 8, and I haven't even logged in. So if you already have something, maybe now's a good time to try it out, right?
Yep.
And if you don't, then whether it's BombBomb or MailChimp or one of these other ones, roll with it.
To that
Yeah,
point, Charlie, I am asking all my coaching clients to do something that I did for myself a week ago, and that is I created a spreadsheet of all the tools that I pay for, all the tools I have access to. What does Remax make available to me?
right,
What is in my Keeping Current Matters account?
right.
Focus first. How does that function? What am I paying for it, and what should I have been getting out of it? Create a spreadsheet of every single tool that you have or have access to, put the cost and the function, and then get about the work of using it or kicking it to the curb, because I
Yep.
think we're all guilty of paying for things that we don't use, and also underutilizing stuff that could really set us ahead.
I know. We need to come up with some sort of a subscription that the price is low enough where people don't notice, and just just provide very little value, because that's how you get rich. Like, I mean, the wealth can be built with these subscription services that people
Yeah.
just kind of $20 a month. I don't really use it, but maybe I will, and it's only $20, so I'll go ahead and keep it. Boy, you have 100,000 subscribers, and boy, you're set forever.
Yeah.
E-transactions, talk to me about e-transactions. I think most people watching this are probably using something
Yeah.
already,
Yeah.
but comments there.
Well, I mean, if you aren't, and it just depends. Like at my brokerage, we're required to use the dot loop. It's not dot
Hmm.
loop at my brokerage, it's SkySlope. But, it's not an option. So we all know how to use it, and it's
Yeah.
not time to learn. We were required. But if you're in some sort of a space where you're half in, half out, or you're not utilizing it to its fullest, it's a great time to set aside that time. I don't know. We don't have a section in this call on time management. I think the truth is you ought to write down, this is my tip of the week. Write a bulleted list of every single thing you think you need to accomplish. Put some time estimates by each one. Start to wrap your arms around, are you being realistic or not? Have you committed 200 hours to this week for projects alone?
Hmm.
Or, oh my goodness, look at that. That would take 10 minutes, no problem. Get her done. So that would be my recommendation to start
No, I like it.
estimating.
Yeah. Let's move on down. Talk to me about file sharing. We're pretty big Google Drive users within Remax Allegiance. You use or have used Dropbox, I
I
think,
do
as
both.
well. Yeah, significantly more than I have.
Yeah.
Comments there.
Well, I mean, this kind of feels silly, like, but maybe we do have listeners who are not living in the cloud
Yeah,
with all of their documents, storage, and sharing. If you're not in the cloud, if you're saving stuff to your desktop, now could be a great time to experience the joys of having unlimited access to your stuff almost wherever you are. And I know you're home for a while, but the
right.
day will come when you'll be on the road again. Drive and Dropbox have mobile versions, desktop versions.
Yep.
They are game changers and they make you so much happier.
Good. Online profiles. So the idea here is to have a profile on most or all of these. That doesn't mean we have to shut down for the next week and just create profiles here, right? So spend a little bit of time each day, maybe working on your profiles. Personally, for me, if you're not on Zillow with a fair amount of reviews for your market, some of which are newer, that's where I would personally start, because I think that there's that's where the eyeballs go. 70 million eyeballs a month go to Zillow. I heard from somebody, and I don't remember who it was. I would love to give them credit. I think it was my client Jonathan in Miami told me that he works with Realtor.com and OpCity, and their call center had their busiest day ever over the weekend, I want to say. So people are sitting at home in some cases, and they are looking at homes. That's not to say that everybody is, but I thought that was a very interesting observation. And his thinking was, if they're doing that now, maybe they're more serious than others. If you're worried about your job, if you just got furloughed or laid off, you're probably not on Realtor.com, right? So that's something to think about when it comes to all of these profiles. What happens when somebody Googles you? I mean, are you on the front page for anything? And it's harder if you have a more common name, and I get that,
Yeah.
right? But have you Googled yourself recently? What's it look like? Again, the things that you and I are talking about today, we don't want everybody just to stop everything and just work on this stuff, right?
No,
There is,
no.
come up with a schedule or whatever, but thoughts on online profiles.
Well,
You
I
and I
think
have had a show on this before, I think.
exactly. And I think
Yes.
everyone should know that they may have a profile now. So that may
Right.
be the epiphany when you Google yourself is, oh my goodness, I didn't realize.
Yep.
So you want to check them out, update them. If you're not ready to go all in on Instagram, that's okay. I would just work on cleaning up the stuff that you have. And I want to give a shout out to Remax Allegiance trainer Jerusalem, who teaches a wonderful Zillow class. So if you haven't taken a
Excellent.
Zillow class, absolutely do that.
Good. Move on down. Social media how-tos. These are links for instructions on social media. Facebook Live, you have to hit the live button. That is one piece of Facebook Live that perhaps I screwed up earlier in today's call. So if you're going live, remember to hit the live button. I think the rest of this is fairly self-explanatory. Video first with everything. We've been talking about video. I think video is super important. Somebody may have the question, going back to reviews, hey, can I ask a client for a review right now? I think you can, as long as you're framing the conversation the right way and you're calling them, making it about them. And then if things are cool, you can always say, you know what, yeah, I'm stuck at home and I'm working on my Zillow. And hey, man, would you mind taking 5 minutes and, and doing a review? That's not the reason for your call though, right?
Yeah,
so we can still ask for things as long as we're doing more giving than taking. Video communication. We are certainly big BombBomb users. We are huge Zoom users. I mean, I don't know how many hours you spend on Zoom a week. For me, it's 15 to 20.
Yeah.
We're super comfortable with it. A lot of our coaching clients already know it. There is no learning curve there. We've spoken before, and I know you're going to be teaching on some of your classes, how to do, an online listing presentation, stuff like this. So those of you that are not already on Zoom, or if you're using other video communication, make sure that you know how it works. You do not want your client to be your guinea pig, right?
Yeah.
And we have a Zoom 101 class, I believe, every Monday. You can go to theallegianceway.com, click on events, and we have a staff member that is literally waiting there for you to pop in so they can help you set up your Zoom. So there is no excuse. You can have live help, and there's certainly the how-tos and videos, but this is kind of the new normal, I think.
Yeah.
And as we've been saying, folks that are in second home resort communities, they've been doing this forever anyway,
Yeah.
right? Maybe some have been using the phone, but I tell you, you can build rapport a lot quicker with somebody on camera than you can on the phone, right?
Yeah.
You know, I can sit there and be saying, you know, oh yeah, no problem. Yeah, that sounds great, right? And I'm doing this, right? I mean, video changed everything, which is why Tom Ferry went to video about 3 years ago, because it changes everything. Comments about video, you know, all this video
I think
stuff,
you said it.
resources, communication, all things video.
Well, and for the people who are uncomfortable or say, oh, I don't like the way I look on camera, the rude awakening for all of us has been we look the same in person. So
Right.
it's time to not be so sheepish. It's not that big a deal. And plus, people aren't over scrutinizing us. We're just hard on ourselves. So yeah, great tool. Go
Yeah,
smile
and you
at your
know,
loved ones.
and maybe if the old adage of what the camera adds 10 pounds, if that's true, when they see you in person, you're going to look even better. So why not go ahead and do it? No, I mean, seriously, if we all liked the way we looked or sounded on camera, we would all be a talking head on CNN.
There you go.
There's very few people that enjoy the sound of their voice.
Sure.
Right? And you know what I say to those people? Don't listen to it then. Don't listen to it. You know, I don't spend my evening listening to my voice, right? Okay, so all things video. Microsoft Office applications. This is great. I don't use any of them. We use, you know, all things Google.
Mhm.
If something comes to me in Excel, I switch it over into Google. I'm not saying that Microsoft is bad, but we have some people that are really high up in Microsoft, and we have some people that are really high up into Google, and it's just a preference, I think.
Yeah, but here's some great learning tips.
Good. Project management, Trello, ProofHub, PM software, meaning project management, not property management. I like Asana. I used to email myself different ideas, and it just gets lost in your giant email box, right? I am not an inbox zero kind of guy. I'll be inbox zero probably when I'm dead, and I own that. It's just not something that I'm personally really concentrating on. But Asana is a great place to have ideas. If you have people that you work with, you can have due dates. You can assign it to people. It is cheap, cheap, cheap. Another kind of project management piece that maybe we've talked about before that's not on here is Manifestly for checklists, things that are repeated over and over and over. Manifestly is cheap, cheap, cheap. You can assign tasks to different people. You can have due dates. It emails you if you're late. That's manifest.ly. That one's not on here, but I know you're a Trello person.
I'm a Trello user, yeah.
And so talk to me about that.
Well, I agree with you about Asana for teams. Absolutely, and maybe even for individuals. But for me, and just collaborating oftentimes with one other person, I love Trello, and maybe we will dedicate one of our half-hour sprint days to showing how cool Trello can be, because I think that the thing that I like about Trello, and we've talked about this before, that I'm an expressive and you're an analytical.
Yeah.
The thing that I love about Trello is how visual it is. It's still, the detail is still embedded. You can track things, you can link to spreadsheets, you can have all that granularity, but you can also have big picture, and you can have a lot of visual stimulus. And for me, I use Trello not just for my listing flow or for my under contract transactions, but for my marketing vision, for my training of my assistant, for my keeping track of client events, and for my own personal visions.
Good, excellent. Last one, referral sites. Some of these are paid, most of them are not. There's a lot of these that if you get a referral from the site, then you are agreeing to a referral fee. Some people love that model, some people hate it. Regardless, this is a list of places that you can go and have an online presence. So take a look at that. I don't have much more to add there.
Yeah.
Do you?
No, just helpful.
Okay, cool. The last piece of today is the 30-day action and marketing plan. Let's share my screen with this and try to run through it real quick. Again, this is available at theallegianceway.com. Click on pivot, you can get your own copy. So hopefully most of our viewers had business plans before. I am personally not going to advocate that you throw them in the trash. I am an advocate of pausing it, setting it aside, right? I strongly believe that the market that we had before is going to come back once this subsides. And I don't think that's going to be in a year from now. I think it's going to be quicker. Do I think it's going to be next week? No. But sometime, between now and a year from now, right? Hopefully sooner rather than later. So setting aside your business plan and coming up with a 30-day action and marketing plan, and we can kind of run through this. It's fairly self-explanatory, but you have your goals in this column, and then you're basically entering in your days here, and you'll be able to, play around with the dates and stuff, your progress towards your goal. So how many days do you want to work? How many hours of power do you want to have? An hour of power is prospecting, having conversations with people. And there's a row for new people, new leads. People are getting leads right now. I was on a coaching call this morning, and the person that I was speaking with got a lead from her cousin or something right when we were on the call. Database is people that are already in your system, past clients, sphere, et cetera, et cetera. Lead follow-ups are people that were already in flow. So that's how we're kind of defining that. And a conversation ideally is on the phone right now. Can you have a text conversation? Yes. If they're millennials, they probably don't want to talk to you. So texting back and forth is cool. Facebook Messenger is cool, back and forth. Email doesn't really count in my book as a conversation. And again, you're not selling, you're checking in on people. If you're in a position where you're healthy and comfortable, it can run an errand for somebody, you can offer that up, right? So we're just checking in on our people. That's what I see as the prospecting and nurturing. Again, loading the cannon for the future. We are seen as leaders now and will be remembered as leaders. And Tom Ferry says that our brand is going to be cemented in the next 30 days, right or wrong, right? Yeah. It's going to be, so we can be a leader or we cannot be, but what we do now is going to have a huge impact on our future. Yeah. Anything to add there on the prospecting and nurturing? We've kind of talked about that quite a bit.
Yeah, no, I just think choose your own numbers. Like I think some of those numbers are a little intimidating.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. This is all changeable. Thank you for pointing that out. Yep. Marketing and communication. There's room here for different email clients. We've talked about that. For social posts, for going live on social, for social stories, direct messaging. Again, the goal is whatever you're comfortable with, and then you're just tracking, but setting a goal is super important. We've talked a little bit about doing Zoom parties and interviews. I had a client yesterday do an interview, again, Jay in New Jersey. He's on top of the Zoom thing. He did an interview with an accountant, and they had a discussion around coronavirus, taxes, an accountant. He asked questions, people could participate, right? You can do the same community interviews as perhaps you were before, just do them, you can go live on Facebook and record them via Zoom, like what Coach Amy and I do. So the sky is the limit here. Let's talk a little bit about expireds and withdrawals. This came up yesterday, and we need to be mindful, depending on how your MLS classifies things. If somebody is putting something on hold and intending to relist with that agent once this is over, then we should be, once this is over, be communicating with the agent saying, hey, is this listing going to be coming back up, whatever. I have a friend in California whose client today got a text message from a realtor saying, I see your property is off the market. Can we get together, have a conversation about how we can improve the marketing and get your property sold? The property did not expire. They are intending to relist with this agent once California is able to do that in a more traditional sense. And what struck me is this text message that this agent sent to the seller was very clearly the same one that they would have sent a month or 2 months ago.
Yes, of course.
Which is troubling.
Not changing the messaging, yeah.
Exactly. And I think we beat that to a dead horse, but just be mindful of the other agents in your community, the sellers in your community. If there's any, if the drunk monkey in this case is telling you, hey, this might be slimy, think for a second, right? Maybe the drunk monkey for once might be right. And if, and ask a colleague or ask one of us, our opinion. There's right things to do in this market, and there's plenty of that. So let's not do the wrong things. So all sorts of opportunities here for marketing, surprise and delights. Hey, I was thinking of you, and you send them brownies, right? From send out cards. Note cards are personal notes, and so on and so forth. Transaction and revenue goals. How many listings are you going to launch? Pended, closed. I think this is all self-explanatory. Again, it is completely based on the market that you're in, the situation that you're in, and your comfort level, right? I just want to be super clear on that. Everybody is going to be different. And I think we all need goals, but I'm not going to put my goals on somebody else if they're sitting in California and they can't really, get out there and sell homes, right?
Well, but I think for me, and I tend to be more on the gentle side of things, when
Yes.
we're looking at a pipeline, listing leads generated and buyer leads generated, I think if we all take up the challenge to be in communication and genuine support and genuine community with all of our people, treat your sphere the way you would your own siblings, right? Be genuine, be authentic, be gracious. And these conversations will evolve over the next weeks to be about real estate.
Right.
And so I think the messaging is this: if you have any thoughts of buying or selling this year, there's never a wrong time to talk about your strategy. I'm happy to talk. And this is something that was always true, right? The thing I say to people is never too early to get pre-qualified. Like I always emphasize the lending part, but I think it's never too early to talk about your investing goals around real estate, whether it's buying or selling, even if it's future pacing. And they want to talk about their plans for the fall. They want to talk about investing next year. And you can talk about, well, we don't know exactly where the market's shaking out, but here are the things that we do know. You could have a lot of powerful conversations, and you could have one heck of a pipeline when the market comes roaring back.
Oh, absolutely. Load the cannon, right? Like we've been saying, load the cannon.
So that's for me, that's what this is.
Yes, agreed.
That's this section for me.
Agreed. Let's move on down. I think that's about it on this page. So, and then we have a week by week tracking of the marketing on the second tab. So that about does it. I think we've covered everything. Let's just do a really quick synopsis again. And those of you that joined us and the video came on late with Facebook, we've recorded the whole thing. We will load it into Facebook. We'll send it out so you didn't miss anything. Our priorities are safety for ourselves, our family, our clients. That's physical safety, trying to avoid this virus. And it's also the mental piece. We want to move our current business forward as long as it is appropriate for our clients and our buyers and sellers. That's number two. Number three is loading the cannon for the future. Exactly what you just said, right? Consulting with our people and get them set up for success in the future. We want, if a lockdown is going to happen to us, what does that mean for us? What is our plan? That doesn't mean that we need to obsess about it. We just should have some sort of a plan. We talked about marketing and making sure that any automated marketing that we have is appropriate for today. And if you've preloaded drip campaigns and whatnot, we want to check that. And then we went over our gratitude worksheet, our daily meds worksheet, 75 plus technologies to work virtually. And then we just ended up with the business plan. So you'll be back tomorrow on Facebook Live at 1:30. And the subject will be, what if my client wants to cancel? Some people might. We want to make sure that our clients know the advantages and disadvantages of doing that. We want to make sure that people are aware of there are opportunities in this market if they're comfortable. So Amy's going to be going over all of that stuff. And if you go to theallegianceway.com, click on pivot, all of the handouts that we've discussed today are available there. If you click on events, all of our events are in there as well, subject to change. As things evolve, we're going to evolve the content that we're putting out. So that's all I've got today. What do you have?
Well, I think I want to, and this is a little bit jumping back
Sure.
to marketing, and
Yep.
we've said continue marketing, and we've said be tasteful, be
Hmm.
thoughtful, and I just want to be really clear. I had a coaching client ask, "What should I do about my farm? Should I keep sending the market
Hmm.
updates?" Well, I don't know. I mean, like, if what the market update indicates is that there's been an anomaly,
Hmm.
I don't know how valuable that is to
Right.
report. And so, what I strongly suggest we all do is continue the steady touch rhythm.
Yes.
Don't
Right.
take your foot off the gas, because this
Yep.
is about community and connection. But with those beautiful postcards, those carefully branded newsletters, whatever they are, shift the messaging. When I
Yes.
talk to my brothers and sisters, we talk about virtual board games. We talk about
Right.
healthy menu, right?
Hmm.
So that's what I would say. Keep the good things going out, and just shift what you're talking about the way you have
Yeah,
in
and
your
I would go a step further, and maybe we don't fully agree on this. I know rates have been all over the place,
Mhm.
right? But if rates are good, there's nothing wrong with mentioning that, right? There's
Sure,
nothing
sure.
wrong with mentioning that in our MLS, which is a huge MLS, Bright MLS, right? Um, Compared to a year ago over the weekend, we had 20% fewer listings.
Mhm.
So in other words, we're tracking a lot higher than most people would
Yes.
assume, and letting people know that is not a bad thing, right? We're not completely shut down. There are
Yeah.
some parts of our markets and some parts of the country and some parts of the world that are,
Mhm.
but it's our job to let people know our reality, and that changes every day, right? I'm going
Yeah.
to be reading the news later this afternoon to see, which governor on our jurisdictions and what Mayor Bowser in DC has decided to do and how it affects, our people in our offices. So,
Yeah, so to
um,
be clear, I didn't mean don't talk about real estate. I was thinking particularly of geo farms, where we always send the table of
right.
sales. And
Yes.
potentially, if you just table of sales,
Yep.
that might be kind of pointless at some point when what we're showing is an anomaly in
Oh,
there.
I agree. It's going to
And
make
they
it
already
look
knew
like the
that.
market. Yep. The market tanked, April to last April is
Yeah.
not going to be a pretty number. And that's not going to really, probably by the time you send it in May, even tell the true picture of what's
Yeah,
happening. So
not,
no,
and
I
not
am, I'm
beneficial.
with you. I'm with
Yeah,
you. Yep. That is when it, like we've said, think about what you're sending.
yeah.
Don't just stop sending, right? Don't
Be
stop
in
sending.
community, be in contribution, take care of yourself.
And the last tip, speaking of marketing, I had forgotten this. We understand that Facebook ads are cheap. Facebook ads are cheap because folks are reducing their spend. There
Mhm,
may be opportunities there. There may be opportunities with Google AdWords,
mhm.
right? So let's be thinking about that and that marketing strategy for the people that are watching the show right now. So where other people pull back, if you're comfortable, right, then maybe you put a little bit more into that, into that marketing area. So that's all I've got. This was a
Yeah,
good hour
this is
10.
plenty. Yeah,
Awesome.
so rewatch the video, everybody, and tune in every day. We're going to have new stuff. And Charlie, I love it that you invited everyone to make requests.
Oh
Anybody have
yeah, please
requests?
do, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, requests for now topics, tech topics, anything. We're there for you.
Yeah, Charles Bengal at remax.net. Send it directly to you. I'll make sure that it gets in the hands of Amy or our other trainers. And good luck, stay safe, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Bye, everybody.
Bye bye.